Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Golden Age Podcast. I'm your host, Renee Clark Graham, where we talk about things that affect seniors 60 plus. Today's topic is the winter blues. My guest today is Dr. LeRay Carter Martin, professor of nursing at Villanova University. Welcome, LeRay.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. And we're waiting to hear everything you have to share. So you can just go ahead and start and take it away.
Awesome. Okay, first of all, I wanted to let you know, thank you so much to you, Renee, for having me on your program. It is an honor to be able to share some information right here in Chester with my community and out there in cyberspace.
Yes, ma'am.
I am a registered nurse and I teach nursing. So I'm here today not to give any kind of nursing advice I can't give medical advice. That's not in my scope of practice. But just here to share some information about some things that are common among our community, among older adults.
All right.
And maybe share some experiences as well.
And we're anxious to hear it. So
thank you.
It's yours.
Okay, so I don't know. I would love to watch Game of Thrones. I haven't seen it yet. It's on my bucket list, but I know there was a saying that winter is coming, and that was not only literal but figurative. So when the cold months, the long days, the darkness and all.
Well, the grayness.
Exactly.
Yes.
So pretty much winter is here.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively. We're going through some rough times. Some of us, not just with the weather and the changes, right, but also with things that are going on around us in the U.S.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about coping with the winter blues and talk about some of the differences between this and depression and some things we can do, some signs and symptoms and some things we can do about it.
Okay, let's get into it. Okay, my first question here for you is what's the cause of the winter blues? Can you talk about the background, not so much where it came from, but what causes it?
Sure. So first of all, let me define it. Winter blues would be like those feelings of sadness or feelings of being down that are occasional, that happen when it's gray, when it's raining, whatever. You can't get outside, you might feel stuck, and these things don't happen to everyone. I mean, there's some snow bunnies, I guess, who love to ski and all that stuff they like to do outside when it's cold.
Being out there.
But for 10 to 20% of Americans experience winter blues, so like a little change in the mood. This is a milder version of a diagnosis called seasonal affective disorder. You may know it as SAD, or seasonal depression. So that is an actual diagnosis that needs to be made by a medical professional, by a healthcare provider. But you asked me what it looks like.
What's the cause? What causes all of that? Yeah.
A myriad of things. With some older adults, we could talk about, and we might talk a little bit about this today, not doing some of the things that you were doing before, maybe being retired and not getting up and going to work every day. And that change in lifestyle. Also, there is, some of us really love the sunshine and we feel and the warmth on our skin and all. We don't want to come outside when it's icy, right? You don't want to slip, break your hip, whatever.
That's a safety precaution for me.
So there's a lot of reasons why we might feel that we can't do the things we usually do. The days are longer. I wasn't even thinking about this when we decided to talk about it. But sometimes home is not the safe, peaceful place that we all expect it to be. Right? Home. It ideally should be a haven, right? But everybody's not at home with somebody that they trust or love.
True. Or they're there alone. Exactly. And that makes a big difference. Wow. Okay.
So all of these are causes or what we call risk factors for the blues.
Certain times of the month, it takes effect more than others, like.
I think that varies by individual and maybe even geographic location.
All right.
There are some places that I've heard of here where they have like rainy seasons, right?
Oh, that's just as bad.
Or can you imagine?
Yeah, no.
when it rains more than the sun is out. For us, we've had a lot of snow. This has been an unseasonably cold winter.
Arctic-like.
Right. So I mean, it's not just the weather though. Well, okay, let's be real. In the past 2 months, we've had a change in like administration with our government, and there's some adjustments that go along with that. There's some uncertainty, right?
Right.
So yeah, lots going on.
All those things are kind of coming together to cause all of this. Okay, so what are some of the symptoms that we can watch for, or either ourselves or maybe our neighbors or aunts, uncles, whatever? What kind of symptoms should we be looking for to say, okay, I think they may be suffering from the winter blues? I'm not really sure, but they're exhibiting this behavior or that behavior. So what kind of stuff should we be looking for?
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about the symptoms of depression first, and then I'll drill it back down to the winter blues, because I want to go with the more harsh, right? And then we'll step it back a little bit. So I mentioned seasonal affective disorder, right? So, and it's diagnosed by a medical provider. One of the hallmarks of depression is sadness that lasts for multiple days. So it's not like, okay, today is raining, I'm feeling a little down, let me just sit here.
It just carries over.
It's Saturday. Let me sit here and relax. But sadness, like every day I'm feeling this way. I don't want to get out of bed and go to work or do whatever. Sleep changes. Like not really insomnia, but oversleeping, like really, not wanting to get out of bed, anxiety. Okay. The anxiousness, the nervousness, the loss of power, feelings of powerlessness, feelings of hopelessness, loss of interest in activities that someone normally likes. So if somebody usually went bowling every week, and now, your bowling buddy doesn't want to leave the house, that could be like a sign, right? And thoughts of death or suicide. All of those things are signs of depression, and they warrant a visit to a medical professional. Okay. And if anyone happens to be in crisis and they're having those feelings of like, I don't want to be here. Yeah. I want to take myself out or take somebody else out, they will call a crisis hotline. Okay, so if I knew, say, that my neighbor was not, like I haven't seen her for weeks, and it's like, okay, I'm calling and she's not really answering, and I go to knock and I finally get in, right? And I see that she's not dressed. She's just in her, her lounge clothes or whatever. Just feeling like, not really feeling herself, not acting like herself. How can I talk to her and say, listen, put some clothes on, we're going to go do. How do I even begin to have that conversation? That's a hard conversation to have with people sometimes. It is. And I think it depends. I think you kind of answered it right there when you said, hey, put some clothes on. And let's go. Yeah, let's go, right? Do something. I think it depends on what kind of relationship you have with them, whether or not she trusted you enough to let you into her house, right? Yeah. So that says that she wants some help from you. Okay. She may. And she knows that I'm concerned or whatever, maybe. Exactly. I don't know. So, I mean, we just want to be authentic, right, with our neighbors, our friends, our family. Right. If you see something, we could be very private people, right? But we all have somebody that we I would say trust enough, right? So, I would start with exactly what you said. And don't be afraid to say something, right? In these times, we really need community. It's true. Even though a person may live by themselves, they might not want to be by themselves. You know what I mean? So we got to look out for one another, I think. So
Okay. What else you got?
So back to the signs and symptoms. So that was depression.
Right.
So when the winter blues is milder than that. So okay, I might not want to come out every day during this week, or I don't know. It's a milder version.
Okay.
It's like I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but these other things that we talked about, especially like thoughts of suicide and
that's not mild though, is
no,
it?
no,
Not
not at all. If one
That's
is
serious,
to have
yeah.
those thoughts, please call 988. So here in Delaware County, we have an alternative to 911.
Okay, I never knew that.
Yes, so this is a mental
988.
health crisis response. So when you call 911, you can always still call 911, right? If for a medical emergency or a fire or something like that.
Okay.
But when you call 988, the first responders are educated and trained in mental health crises and responding to behavioral health issues. So I don't think every community across the country has adopted 988, but here in Delaware,
I did not
County,
even know
we
this
have.
existed until right now. So okay, today years old, I'm knowing about 988. Okay,
So-
that's good to know.
So in a crisis situation, their behavior is erratic. They're threatening you. They're threatening themselves. I would definitely call. But for the milder version, that's what we want to stick with today. That's
The
what I want
mild,
to kind
okay.
of talk about. Just the kind of things we go through. I'll give myself as an example.
Okay.
Let's see. I go to work. I work every day. But I'm not really a morning person, right? So I actually realized this morning that I'd rather wake up when the sun is up, right?
Okay.
I don't miss those days when I had to get up and be at work at 6 o'clock and it was dark and I'm driving in the dark to work
and coming
driving
home in the dark. That's kind of
home.
like, oh, that's a lot.
Right. So
That's
for
a lot.
me, I linger in the bed a little bit longer sometimes, but that's like my response to how I feel with the season.
Okay.
So
All right. Okay, sunlight. We talked about this a little bit before we went on the air. How can sunlight assist with the blues? Do you think it helps?
absolutely.
I know that I don't care how cold it is. As long as the sun is shining, I'm good. But if it's cold and damp and rain, it's like, oh, there's no light. I don't feel the sun on my face. I don't see anything bright outside. It's like, it's kind of a bummer. So I'm thinking, is this something that medical professionals may suggest that they get out and get some sunlight or take a walk or whatever?
So sunlight or even artificial light, light therapy is something that someone would
Talk about,
do.
what is that? Light therapy?
Phototherapy or light therapy, honestly, I have not witnessed that, but it's one of the, when someone is in therapy for depression, that might be one of the things if they have seasonal affective disorder. I've heard, and actually I've had it recommended to me that there are lights that one could purchase online, for instance, and it's something like you could sit it at your nightstand, and it just gives a certain kind of light that you can wake up to or look into every now and then, as opposed to being in the dark. So you don't have to have a prescription for that. Another personal example is several years back, I knew that I was going to be in the house in the wintertime. I had surgery. I knew I was going to be off my feet for 6 weeks. And I don't know, it just felt like it was going to be a dark time, right? Just the thought of staying in the house so long. So I asked my husband to paint our bedroom yellow.
Oh my God.
And he did.
Like yellow?
I said, I want this bedroom to look like sunlight. So he painted it yellow for me. Did
that work for you?
It helped. It helped. Also, I know where I have many windows in my house.
Right.
And I know the sun rises in the east. I have my bed situated to where, and I'm not telling you, move furniture and all, but I mean, where the sun rises in the east and it goes down in the west.
It
so
sets
you're
in the
gonna
west,
get the
right.
most sun in your house in the morning if your windows face the east. Terry talked about this last week, your guest, when she talked about how at her bay window, they open all the
She opens up the window and lets that
and it
sunshine in
warms
there.
up the
Yeah,
room.
it does.
Right, so that helps with your mood,
Okay.
and it helps you heat
So
your house.
your whole bedroom is yellow?
Well, it's not
Really?
yellow now. My
It's not
bedroom now is like a cream color. That
Okay.
was like 2012
Okay.
or so.
Because that's like stimulation. It's like, how could you go? I don't know if I could go to sleep in a yellow room. I guess if I was
Everybody
tired,
has
if I could, but like, I don't know.
We
That's
have
a
their
lot.
colors that we like.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Well, back then I didn't sleep. I was a night owl. So now I'm still trying to figure out my happy space as far as what I need in the bedroom to like. I know I have like a little light that has like a red light on it.
Okay.
But still trying to work that out.
Okay. All right. So now the next thing, sleep. How does sleep affect us for the winter blues? How can we, I guess, I don't know, either dial back to sleep or get an adequate amount of sleep during this time? Does our sleep get affected by winter blues?
So so let me go back a little bit because I
go
didn't
ahead.
say this that the winter blues can affect our health in many ways.
Okay,
And,
talk about it.
and
Okay.
sleeplessness is one of the ways it can affect our health. Also, it increases the risk for things such as heart disease and hypertension, diabetes, depression, anxiety. I listed a few. What else did I
Okay.
list here? Increased substance use, like drinking and smoking, and lack of exercise. These are some of the things that go along with the blues, and we'll talk about loneliness some more in social isolation too.
All right.
But sleep is part of that as well.
Yeah.
So it's like a nice little cocktail, right? That whole combination of things affects our health. Not getting enough sleep, being here. I'm just thinking about being in Chester right now, how we live, where we can hear the train from here. You have the planes overhead.
Right.
You can hear the noise from whatever, the foghorns. It's always some noise. We already live in the midst of environmental hazards that have an effect on our nervous system, right?
Okay.
And that anxiety that goes along with that. With watching the news, overwatching the news.
I don't
all
watch
that
the news
stimulus
anymore.
and all
I
that,
refuse
right?
to watch. I don't watch it.
So think about it as being like all those stimuli just constantly banging at your nervous system.
So your rest patterns can be broken for sure, right? Because I think I'm in that space now, because it's like I wake up every morning between 2:30 and 3 o'clock. And it takes me like an hour or so to get back to sleep. It's like clockwork every morning. Why am I waking up at this time of night? So the first thing I do is turn the TV on, see what's on TV. I know something's on TV, but I've noticed this in the last 6 weeks that I've been waking up at this time, and just up for like an hour or so. Then I eventually fall back to sleep, but it's like, why am I up? It's like 2:30, 2:45 in the morning. Why am I up? So I don't know if that will happen with the winter blues. It breaks your sleep patterns. You don't sleep a full 8 hours, or so. I guess it varies from person to person.
There could be a lot of things going on, right? Yeah, like this topic is like so intertwined with so many other things
It is
going on with our
It
lives,
is.
right? It's hard to say.
Okay. Exercise. How can exercise help us out through the winter blues?
Always moving, getting
Keeping the
that blood
move, yeah.
circulating. I'm going to say exercise. I would recommend trying to get outside and go for a walk in
See,
the
that's my
sunshine,
exercise. I will
right?
walk as long as it's not.
Right.
Now today is a nice day to go for a walk,
Gorgeous. Yes.
so I would probably do that. But go ahead.
So there's two sides to exercise,
Okay.
right? There's the getting out and doing something that makes you feel good about yourself. It's gonna increase your mood. Like I said, get the blood circulating. Have you feel that sunshine on your skin. You might see some neighbors, speak to somebody.
Yeah.
It's a good thing all the way around, right? But now then there's the going overboard. I would say if you have not run a marathon, I don't think you want to start running a marathon.
Oh no, it has to be done within reason.
Train,
right?
Right.
Yeah,
exercise
within reason.
I'm not saying you can't, but you want to check with your medical professional first, and just do something reasonable. So if you can't get out of the house, for instance, and you have stairs, maybe walk up and down the stairs a few times during the day. House cleaning is a great way of exercise.
Oh man,
I know
I know.
To do that, right?
I know, but because you are moving while you're doing it, so it does makes perfect sense. Right? It makes perfect sense. Oh my goodness. Okay. Social interaction. Now, see here on your notes, you have loneliness and social interaction affect our health. Talk to me about that.
Okay, so like I said, I asked my students, what do you think about this topic, right?
Okay.
So the topic of social isolation came up, and that's a hot topic right now amongst researchers. Social isolation is the lack of social contacts and having few people to interact with regularly. I'm gonna mess up this word
social.
all day, right? Social isolation and loneliness are similar, but not quite the same. So loneliness is the distressing feeling of being alone or separated from people, right?
Okay.
So you could feel alone actually in a house full of people.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
I've heard that for years. Yeah, you can.
You could feel lonely. But the social isolation is like that one person living in the house and they don't, get a chance to be around people to be around people. So, you did ask me a question about that.
Okay, so if you're a person that lives alone, and you may not have a lot of activities, but during this time, you can just maybe, if you have a car, get out, drive to the mall, walk around, see people, just find something else to do. Go to a movie, so you're not feeling so isolated and so alone. Just find some activities that make you feel a little better, and you'll see other people. You might even see somebody you never know. But those are the things that I think you're saying that help you not feel lonely or socially isolated, right? When you're getting out and being in public and just making the attempt to do something. You know what I mean? If you don't do nothing but get out of your car, walk around the mall for an hour or two or whatever, just change your scenery.
Right. If that's possible for you on that day, it hits all. It checks all the boxes, right? The exercise, the sunlight, the social interaction. All of that, and if it's not possible, then friends and family. Find out who your lines are, like your lifelines are. Right.
Okay.
Sometimes it, old school. We dial people up. Right. We might want to talk on the phone for a while. Texting. I don't know how.
No, I have to have conversation. Because it's some things I want to say. I'm like, I can't text that fast, so I need to call you on the phone and say, listen, and then we'll have that conversation. We'll have a dialogue. Texting is good, but you can't have a whole conversation through text. Not to me. Right. That's old school, but that's okay.
I'm starting to learn to use that one where I hit the little mic on there and I might talk into it a little bit, but it's still not the same as a conversation, right? Right. So, but then there's times people can't get out for reasons like there may be mobility problems.
True.
Or mobility issues, memory issues. They can't go out of the house, without someone with them, right? So there's also some resources here. We have the Chester Senior Center at 721 Hayes Street. I would say is a great resource for those who are mobile and
for sure. Oh, they do. Those people, they get it done.
That's like a goal of mine. I can't wait to join the Senior Center
to get down there.
But then there's also a telephone number that I got off of a national website. So you can write this down, but with the way the things are going now, I don't know what numbers are up and what's working and not. But this is the Elder Care Locator, and the number is 1-800-677 1116.
Okay.
And Delaware County also has COSA,
Right.
the Office for
COSA, I know,
Aging.
but yeah, about
And
COSA.
let me see. I think I wrote their number down too.
Now are they still in media?
They're in Eddystone.
They're in Eddystone. Okay.
Yeah, so the number for COSA, and COSA's got this great website, and with all kind of services that they offer.
Okay.
But also a telephone number, because I know everybody is not on the internet.
Right.
The number for COSA in Delaware County is 610-490-1300.
Say that again.
610-490-1300.
Okay, so they're now. You said they're now in Eddystone. They must be in that tower. That okay, all right, Baldwin Tower.
So these are some resources you could tap into. Now, I have a real exciting resource that I just learned about, and I've been at Villanova for a few years.
Let's hear it.
Villanova nursing students during the pandemic started an organization called Reach Out.
Okay.
And basically all it is nursing students want to talk with older adults who need somebody to talk with.
Okay.
So it's an interaction. You share each other's phone.
Do they visit, or is it just done by phone?
No visits, none of
Okay.
that. All it is like, if I feel like I want to talk to somebody right now, or I mean, it's not like a hotline where you can call the nursing students at 3 a.m, but you arrange to have a conversation, and the arrangement is between the two of you, right? So it's called Reach Out. And the number for that, and they're looking for members of the community to reach out to, just because these students, it's a Catholic university, they have a heart to serve.
So you don't have to be of the Villanova area to take advantage of this, right?
Nope.
Okay, go ahead.
From right
Tell me,
here,
yeah.
if you just want to have a buddy to talk to, let's say once a week, once every 2 weeks, on your schedule, however you want to do it, the number is 610-519-5969.
Okay.
And that is called Reach Out.
Nice. All right. So those four, Elder Care, Chester Senior Center, Reach Out, and COSA, are resources that seniors can use to get further information about this or anything.
To prevent loneliness and social isolation.
Okay. Now I noticed here, I'm gonna go back for a minute. There's something here that says, under other thoughts, says be kind to yourself. Okay. How were you kind to yourself? Share it. How were you kind to yourself?
How was I?
How can we be kind to ourselves?
Okay. So there's the formal way we can make the calls and stay connected with other people and all, but then there's just some things. You know yourself. You know what you like.
Right.
I guess when we have the winter blues, we're stuck or whatever. Like, okay, one of the things I wanted to mention is like we want to eat carbs. Some of us do, right? I love cake, bread. I've been killing the bread and the cake.
It's ridiculous.
Winter, right?
Talk about it's horrible.
Right. So the being kind to myself, is for one, not to shoot my blood sugar all the way up into the roof and not to eat so much bread. But the other part is, not to deny myself, right?
Right.
So I might have cake, but then I know I'm not going to drink a Pepsi that day, right?
Okay.
I'm not a Pepsi.
So you have to trade off,
right? That's one of the ways that I'm kind to myself.
Okay.
Another way is I mentioned turning off the TV. It's a lot of chatter for me. I sometimes
it is. It's like it's noise. I don't want.
Right, but I also like music. So taking the time to sit and listen to music. I would like to read more books. I don't really have time to do that. I got my hair dyed.
Okay, so that's
I can
self-care.
have some extra color,
Right, there you
the
go.
Self-care thing. What else? I like perfume a lot.
I know you have that crazy collection. Yes, you do.
Yeah, so
yes, you do.
So that was I stopped buying as much. Last year I purchased quite a few, but this year I'm wearing different combinations.
Okay.
And I read that there's this connection between olfaction or smell,
Really?
and your emotions and your memory.
You know what? You're right, because certain smells make you think of certain things. So that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Okay. Okay. Taking a nap. Taking a nap would seem to be. It's not counterproductive, but sometimes you do need a nap. You just need a good nap, and like maybe an hour or so, and you feel refreshed, you feel energized. But after you have that nap, maybe get out and do something, do something else, or come back in, and then. But I was surprised that was on here.
Really?
Only because when I think about winter blues, and I think about when it's cold outside, I'm in the bed and I'm like just comfy, cozy, pillows, sitting up, and my comforter, and nice and warm, and I end up drifting off anyway.
So
but
you're taking a nap anyway, right?
Yeah. So that would be part of your other thoughts, and being kind to yourself. You got to take a nap.
So
right?
I didn't mention this, but I have a book that I recently started reading. I'm always trying to get through a book, never really finishing it. But I can't remember the first name of the author, but her last name is Hersey, Hersey. And this book,
is it Barbara?
I don't know if it's
No.
Barbara.
Okay, but I've heard that name before. But go ahead.
This book is called Rest is Resistance. And she's talking about, she created what she called a nap ministry.
Get out of here.
I haven't read much about the nap ministry, but what she's saying is we don't rest enough, right?
Okay.
So I added nap there because rest is a big part of our self care and our feelings of well-being and all, right? And something that I read in that book this morning really stuck with me. She said, we're so caught up in this capitalistic lifestyle, this grind lifestyle, you know, go get that bag, right? That we really nap or rest to rejuvenate so that we can keep on grinding, right?
Okay.
But she's like, that's counterintuitive. That's not what her theory is. Her theory is that we should rest because we deserve the rest.
Okay.
Makes
perfect sense to me.
Right. We should rest because that's like part of it's part of our divine gift that's given to us, right? We've been doing so much. We, as in us, just people,
right?
Have been doing so much for others and all of that we when you see us rest, I don't want to get into right now, like, Black women in particular, but women,
right?
Black women.
Because most times women's plates are just full of stuff to do. So I definitely get that.
Right. So we're stopping so that we can energize to do even more.
Okay.
I guess I would propose that we try to learn. And it is a learned behavior because the grind is a learned behavior too, right? But that we learn to give ourselves grace, and to be kind to ourselves.
And vegging on mindless TV or comedy, I love that one.
That's me. That's my thing.
Yes, for sure.
If I'm going to watch TV, it's going to be. Oh, I love Key and Peele. I'm not even going to lie.
You like who?
Key and Peele. You ever seen
I've
that?
I've never seen that. Who is that?
Key
Netflix?
and Peele
Who is that?
reruns.
I've never heard of that before.
It's a little.
A little out there.
It's out there. Yeah.
Okay, but I love a good comedy. I'm down for that. That's always good for me.
Yes, I watch a comedy.
Comfy clothes and peaceful home. That's the best. You know what? Because you have to be dressed for work, right? You have to dress up to go to work. So you come home and throw on your sweats or your comfort lounge pants or whatever, and just be at peace. You know what I mean? So that's taking care of yourself. That's being kind to yourself. And we talked about the cake and how that's your treat. And my thing is ice cream. If I have ice cream in my freezer, I'm good to go. I'm all right. I don't have to have cake with it. If I have some ice cream, I'm good.
What's your favorite flavor?
Butter pecan. But it has to be Turkey Hill.
Oh, really? Okay.
A very Hill.
Specific brand.
Yes, seriously, it has to be Turkey Hill. And I find that's very comforting. It's like, And I could just sit there and just eat ice cream and watch TV or whatever and let the world just pass me by. I'm good. But the winter blues is a real thing. But it's not it's not unlike COVID, right? Like when we were in the house from COVID, isolating by ourselves and being by ourselves. That's unlike COVID, or kind of sort of like
I would
like
say
COVID?
that would be similar.
Similar.
'Cause we had to be in the house.
Exactly.
Right?
We had to shelter in place. So
and I'm saying I'm thinking about being in the house. There's people who love being in the house. You know, we both have introverted children, right?
absolutely,
I mean-
that's the truth. We do.
And actually, I'm an introvert, believe it or not.
Wow.
I sometimes get social anxiety when it's time to leave the house, right?
Okay.
So I know a lot of this sounded like the winter blues was centered around being in the house, right?
Right.
But I guess that's just the direction we went in, but there's a little bit more to it, you know. But yeah, I would say it will be similar to
Okay, to when we were
the COVID lockdown.
the COVID lockdown, exactly, because that was a lot of isolation. I mean, you know, nobody
guess
could come in. You didn't want to go out. It was just a lot.
The difference,
That was a
though,
lot.
remember during COVID, we didn't know when COVID would end.
That's true.
Right?
We didn't. We
know
did not.
what was going on.
We did
At
not.
least now we know. The sun goes down this evening, but it'll come back up
Exactly.
tomorrow, right?
Exactly. So the days are, because it's staying light longer. So it may be like the fog is lifting type deal. You know what I mean? So spring is coming. I don't know when, but spring is coming.
What did the
So we just
groundhog
need to
say?
hang.
I
We
don't
got 6
even
more
know.
weeks, right? Is that what he said?
I don't know.
I forgot all about, was it Punxsutawney Phil or who? I forgot all about him. But I think he said we had 6 more weeks of winter. So we'll see how that goes. But to sum up before we sign off, the winter blues, sad feelings, mood changes that come when the days get longer, darker, colder, feeling down during the winter, experienced by, you said, 10 to 20% of Americans.
And I'm going to say that's probably very conservative.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Not really quickly, but we're going to wind it up. Give us some things that we can do to battle this. Just give us like 5 things we can do to battle the winter blues, if you will, please.
Oh, get up, wake up every day. Every
Okay.
day that you wake up is a new day, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If you wake up, exercise gratitude if it at all possible. I don't know, if you can sit with yourself and ask yourself what your purpose is, right?
Okay.
That's hard because I'm not retired yet, but once you get to that point, and you could speak on this, I'm sure, like your purpose changes, right? Your reason for being here, right? Before it was like I had to do this, right? You didn't even have time to slow down and think about why, who am I, what do I want, all of that, right? So now you've slowed down. So I would say, again, give yourself grace, and you might find a new purpose, right?
Okay.
And that's a lot easier said than done.
True.
Right?
That's true. Because
Open
you've been
those-
doing this stuff for like 20, 30, 40 years.
Your whole life.
And all of a sudden it's like, okay, I don't do this anymore. What am I going to do?
Who am I?
Yeah, exactly.
Open your curtains. Let
Let
the sun shine
let the sun
in.
shine in, for real.
Get up, take a shower, get dressed, even if you can't go outside. If you have a caretaker, you're not doing these things for yourself. Ask your caretaker to give you a shower and get you dressed and sit you up in a chair. Get out of the bed.
Or if you can get out, like, I remember my mother used to get up and just go to the front door and just stand there and look around and see what was happening, or go stand on the step and see what's happening on the street or whatever, just to get out of the house and get some fresh air. So, okay, keep going. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Your diet matters.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to have some energy during the day, I might not be able to eat Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. I might have to get the egg and cheese, some protein or something. You know, you can't keep putting bad things in and expecting to get good things out.
True.
Right? What else? Where is your faith? Whatever your faith is, tap into that.
Right.
You know, prayer still
works.
changes things.
It still
right?
works. Yes, it does.
Was that 5?
I think so. That we can just keep going, but I'm just saying, I just want them to take away something We've covered a lot of air, a lot of ground. But if they can remember those things, to just and basically for me, it's just like, okay, just keep doing whatever it is. Just keep going. Don't give up. Just keep going. You know what I mean? It may not be what you want it to be, but it still is. So just keep it going.
And I think that the sum of it all is that we are community. We have each other. We are going to have to lean on each other so much more now than ever before. Or at least than we ever have in our lifetime, right? So let's do that. Let's lean on one another.
But historically, I think as a people, we have always been able to get through whatever. You know, whatever you're throwing at us is like, okay, fine, we will find a way to cope and do that. But now I think we do need community a little bit more. So if you have a neighbor or somebody who lives next door, whatever it is, and you want to reach out and you haven't seen them, check on them. You know, make sure they're well. Knock on the door. They don't have to come out. So I'm just checking on you to see how you're doing. Do you need anything or, whatever. So I think that's a good thing. LeRay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so excited that you were here. You shared a lot of information. Hopefully, whoever's watching today will take that information and turn it into something positive. And I appreciate you being here so much. And I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome.